Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher. He was known as the Philosopher King. He was the last of the rulers known as the Five Good Emperors and was the final ruler of the Pax Romana, a golden age of peace and stability for the Roman Empire. Marcus was adopted by his uncle, the reigning emperor Antoninus Pius, and was groomed for greatness from a young age. He trained with gladiators, studied with Greek and Latin scholars, and married the emperor's daughter Faustina. But unlike other rulers who reveled in power and bloodshed, Marcus sought wisdom in the teachings of Stoicism. His reign was marked by both triumph and tragedy. He led victorious campaigns against Parthians, Armenians, and Germanic tribes, expanding the Roman Empire's reach. Yet, the empire also faced devastating challenges, like the Antonine Plague, a deadly epidemic that devastated the population of the Roman Empire, causing the deaths of 5 to 10 million people. The Roman Empire's persecution of Christians seemed to rise under Marcus Aurelius's rule. However, it is unlikely that he was directly involved, as there are no records indicating early Christians accused him of being a persecutor. He penned his famous Meditations, a collection of personal reflections on Stoic principles like virtue, duty, and resilience. He had a logical mind, and his notes were representative of Stoic philosophy and spirituality. These writings have been praised by fellow writers, philosophers, monarchs, and politicians for centuries. Seneca. Seneca was regarded as the world's most interesting Stoic and was a major philosophical figure of the Roman imperial period. Under Emperor Claudius, Seneca was exiled to the island of Corsica, but was allowed to return to become a tutor to Nero. When Nero became emperor, Seneca became his advisor and provided capable guidance for the first 5 years of Nero's reign. Yet Seneca's influence over Nero declined with time. Seneca wrote several books on Stoicism, mostly on ethics. He built on the writings of many of the earlier Stoics, often mentioning Zeno, Posidonius, and Epicurus. Seneca's interest in Epicurus is mainly limited to using him as a source of ethical truisms. Stoicism was a popular philosophy in this period, and many upper-class Romans found in it a guiding ethical framework for political involvement. Seneca regarded philosophy as a balm for the wounds of life. He believed that destructive emotions, especially anger and grief, must be removed or moderated. Seneca considered it important to confront one's mortality and be able to face death. His writings on moral issues constitute one of the most important bodies of primary material for ancient Stoicism. His letters to Lucilius showcased Seneca's search for ethical perfection. Seneca was forced to take his own life for alleged complicity in the Pisonian conspiracy to assassinate Nero, although he was most likely innocent. His stoic and calm suicide became the subject of numerous paintings. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and continue watching to discover more on Roman philosophers. Cicero. Marcus Tullius Cicero was considered the pioneer of what became known as Ciceronian rhetoric. Cicero was one of Rome's greatest orators and prose stylists. He was also a Roman statesman, lawyer, scholar, philosopher, writer, and academic skeptic. His extensive writings include writings on rhetoric, philosophy, and politics. His influence on the Latin language was immense. He wrote more than 3/4 of Latin literature that is known to have existed in his lifetime. Cicero's interest in philosophy figured heavily in his later career and led to him providing a comprehensive account of Greek philosophy for a Roman audience, including creating a philosophical vocabulary in Latin. Despite these accomplishments, Cicero believed his political career was his most important achievement. It was during his consulship that the Catiline conspiracy attempted to overthrow the government through an attack on the city by outside forces, and Cicero suppressed the revolt by controversially executing 5 conspirators without trial. Following Caesar's death, Cicero became an enemy of Mark Antony in the subsequent power struggle, attacking him in a series of speeches. He was labeled as an enemy of the state and executed by soldiers after an attempted flight from the Italian peninsula. As a final revenge, Mark Antony displayed Cicero's severed hands and head on the rostra. Cicero's literary contributions rank among the most influential in the world and still comprise one of the most important bodies of primary sources for the writing and revision of Roman history, especially the final chapters of the Roman Republic. Hypatia. Hypatia was a Neoplatonist philosopher, astronomer, and mathematician who lived in Alexandria, Egypt. She was a prominent thinker in Alexandria, where she taught philosophy and astronomy. Hypatia is often regarded as one of the first female mathematicians in history. She broke gender barriers in a field dominated by men during her time, making her a pioneering figure for women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Hypatia was a renowned teacher and lecturer. She held public lectures in Alexandria, attracting students and intellectuals from various backgrounds. Her commitment to education and her ability to communicate complex ideas made her a respected figure in the intellectual community. Hypatia's life came to a tragic end when she was brutally murdered by a mob of Christians led by a lector named Peter. Her death is often seen as a symbol of the decline of classical learning and the rise of religious intolerance. Hypatia's murder shocked the empire and transformed her into a martyr for philosophy, leading future Neoplatonists to become increasingly devoted to their opposition to Christianity. In the 20th century, Hypatia became seen as an icon for women's rights and a precursor to the feminist movement. Plotinus was a Greek Platonist philosopher and is often considered the founder of Neoplatonism, a philosophical system that emerged as a development of the ideas of Plato. Neoplatonism emphasizes the metaphysical aspects of Plato's philosophy, focusing on the concept of the one or the good as the ultimate source of all reality. Neoplatonism was vastly influential during late antiquity, the Middle Ages, and the Renaissance. Plotinus's teachings were compiled and organized by his student Porphyry, known as the Enneads. These writings cover a wide range of topics, including metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and theology. In his metaphysical writings, Plotinus described a hierarchical structure emanating from the One, and included the intellect and the soul. He believed that individuals could transcend the material world and ascend through various levels of reality to reunite with the ultimate source, the One. Plotinus's ideas had a profound impact on later religious and philosophical traditions. His emphasis on the transcendent One and the idea of spiritual ascent influenced early Christian thinkers such as Augustine of Hippo. During the Islamic Golden Age, Plotinus's ideas were incorporated and were also adopted by Islamic philosophers. Saint Augustine of Hippo. Saint Augustine, also known as Saint Augustine of Hippo, was a theologian and philosopher. His writings influenced the development of Western philosophy and Western Christianity, and he is viewed as one of the most important church fathers of the Latin Church. His many works include The City of God, On Christian Doctrine, and Confessions. Augustine's The City of God was written in response to the pillaging of Rome by the Visigoths. In this work, Augustine addresses the relationship between the earthly city and the city of God. He explores the idea that the true Christian's ultimate allegiance lies with the heavenly city, transcending the concerns of the earthly city. Augustine played a crucial role in formulating the Christian doctrine of original sin. He argued that humanity inherited the sin of Adam and Eve, emphasizing the fallen nature of humanity and the need for divine grace for salvation. Augustine is recognized as a saint in the Catholic Church, Lutheran churches, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Anglican Communion. Many Protestants, especially Calvinists and Lutherans, consider him one of the theological fathers of the Protestant Reformation due to his teachings on salvation and divine grace. If you want to learn more about philosophers, make sure to check out this video on the great Greek philosophers.